Okay. Anyway, let's do this. I decided it's time to start streaming and change the world with my influence. Or I just wanted to, I don't know, always wanted to, I don't know, share some stuff. And I always was like, I have to wait for the perfect stream. So I decided to just record. I'm not ready. And this is also more for a recording for, I don't know, anyone that wants to contribute to SkiaSharp. So what we're going to look at today is just have a quick look at what SkiaSharp is, and then we're going to go into a task that I'm usually, I don't know, never get around to. So yeah, I fall a bit behind. So yeah, let's hop over. Let's put the picture on the screen. Let's do that. Let's go here. Let's go there. And hey, oh no, I don't know what's coming up, but something is minimizing the stream. No, interwebs. No, look at that. It's, I don't know if my internet's choking or something. Let's just stop sharing and reshare. Look at that. Day one into the show. Share my screen. And I want to share my entire screen because it's the way we rolled here. There we go. Let's see. Okay. No idea what happened. Everything all froze up with the recording, or we're not recording the share screen. So if you're watching this later, you know, what is SkiaSharp? Who is this guy talking nonsense? This is a cool library that I'm working on. We've got some 92 contributors to it. And this is just a nice wrapper around Google's native Skia library. So Skia, if we go to their website, is a open source 2D graphics library that allows you to basically draw something on the screen or create like PNGs and JPEGs and just, you know, do it anywhere, right? So if you want to draw a picture on a computer or, you know, a device, let's call it that, you can use SkiaSharp at Skia and, you know, get a picture on the screen. So we come along and with SkiaSharp decide to, hey, let's make that available to the .NET people because Skia is written in like C and C++ and there's some assembly in there. So basically, you have to be using C++ to basically leverage it. So SkiaSharp is, I don't know if it's still a trend. It used to be a trend. You slap an N in front of something for .NET. Then, of course, you added a hash or a pound sign, you know, to the end of the product. And that made it the C# version. And, of course, SkiaSharp is, I don't know, the next evolution. I'm pretty sure that there's another trend that I'm not cool with. So, yeah. So SkiaSharp is pretty cool. But it basically is just a wrapper and a whole bunch of APIs and features that allow you to use it in C# or .NET and do some cool stuff. So, you know, you head over to GitHub mono/SkiaSharp to check it out. That's cool. That's fun. And you can have a look at that there. So I'll later on in another stream look at that. I'll go into detail about SkiaSharp, how to use it, maybe set up your machine or set up a project to use it. But that's for, you know, the next stream. I'm going to be popping off the camera because this is my, I've totally not prepared. This is my Mac, hello Mac. And of course, on the side here is my Windows one, and I'm doing the streaming. I'm using the Mac to be the sort of my second screen because I am visiting my in-laws. I'm in a spare room. I have a small table and I have no mouse, no keyboard, no external displays, just two laptops. And I came here for a short while, but unfortunately, I don't know, unfortunately, but fortunately, I'm staying for longer. So who knows? I don't have a setup. But then again, even at home, when I have the whole gadgets and devices, I only use my laptop. So me rambling about my work environment, very comfortable work environment. We're just going to have a quick look. I'm probably going to turn off the camera because you're just going to be seeing the side of my face. And I don't know, it's better to not have my face covering the corner of the screen. Maybe I can, I don't know. There we go. I can do that. Yeah, there we go. You can't even see the laptop in front of the laptop. So like a nesting of laptops here. I could use my other monitor, my Windows laptop, but the camera's not as great. So, yeah. What can I say? It's all the fun life. So, this is SkiaSharp, and updating Skia and SkiaSharp, we first have to do the native side because we have a fork. The fork of Skia is basically adding a C. So SkiaSharp is written in C++ and a bunch of other languages. And then, in order for nice and easy interop, I haven't yet found a nice way to sort of automatically bind the APIs, take the library, C++ library, and just spit out .NET. I mean, there are libraries that do that. I mean, I forget both of the names right now. It'll come to me later. That allows you to take the C++ API and basically generate a .NET API. The thing with Skia is that the API is not written to be consumed like that. It's very interesting. They got different pointers, styles, different cases, and different methods have different. You need to hold on to a reference here, or the fact that you have a reference to this object means that you now need to correctly, keep it in scope and out of scope. Maybe I don't know how to use those libraries, but I solved the problem by just writing a C, which we'll see is mostly where the work happens. Just write the tiny little C functions, and then of course I just p-invoke into that from .NET. And for that p-invoke, I've got a generator that basically pops out a bunch of .NET code. So sort of generated, a little bit of manual work, but it's mostly because, I mean, this is an oldish project. When did this happen? Do we have dates, times, years? I mean, I suppose we can look at the license 6 years ago. Is that when it happened? I don't know if the license is. Oh, I don't know how that happened. I don't even know. That's 2017. I don't know. I don't know if there's a way to go to the very old place. Maybe git ignore. Must be the git ignore. I don't know. Look, I'm getting distracted already. There we go. Good on Miguel. Hello, Miguel. I know you're not going to be watching, but I like to envision that everyone's just enjoying the stream with a fireplace going, with a cup of hot chocolate, and just saying, ho, 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 I enjoy the stream. So, yeah. Miguel wrote a good chunk of the initial code, and basically, I think they threw it over the fence to say, make it work everywhere. And then, of course, Bill Holmes, my former boss. He was my first cool boss at Xamarin. So it's quite an old project. So some of the tooling around at the time wasn't yet as cool as it was. So no magic, unfortunately. A little bit of manual work, but man, it's pretty safe. So right now, our current sort of version is that's out of date. I am pretty sure I wrote, look at that. That's 117 and it's 116. Anyway, so we are on 117. The way Google does their branching, if we go to the release, it is not like a Skia product that they sort of tag and release into the wild. It's rather, it's a sort of a component in Chromium. So what happens is when Chromium decides, look at the Skia branches alongside Chromium. So Chrome decides, hey, it's our time. They obviously do something in Chromium. They work the machinery, and they say, hey, this is sort of a milestone, whatever. So if we actually go to about Microsoft Manage, why is Microsoft managing my browser? Oh, yeah. For example, if we zoom in, this is Edge version 130, the official build. So if we go over to Chromium or Edge, or if it works all the same, they have a two branches. Main, well, they have a whole bunch of branches, but they sort of have a main branch. This is just where all the stuff goes and everyone works there. And of course, when it comes time to feels like a release, they go and release a beta branch, or Canary, I think is Chromium's wording. And they go give it a name. And of course, after a while, then they say, okay, this is not stable. So currently, it's stable. And when it's stable, it's not like, oh, it's any different. It's just they've felt that it's time to do something. So they go ahead, and I think I don't know if they have dates on here, but I think it's monthly or every 3 weeks they would give a new milestone. So currently we are 117. So it's quite old in the sense that, whoops, that's not what I wanted. It's quite old in that it's sort of halfway down the screen. And of course, I looked at Wikipedia, I think this is like a September 2023. So effectively, we are a year out of date. And yeah. So what I want to do is I don't want to jump right to the latest or even the latest stable, because there's a lot of changes in between here, and it takes a long time. And I only usually get around to it every 2 years. Now, of course, what I'm trying to do now is going to try and just go one version out, right? It builds, it's done, we ship it, we merge it, and I can put out a preview, and then, have a coffee. And then next week I come and I try the next one. Or what I'm hoping with this video is that you can see it's not super scary. So if anyone in the community just feels like, I'll just do a quick PR to update because it has a cool feature or a bug fix, then, hopefully this helps. So this is the versioning. Obviously, we're going to start off by first updating Skia. So Skia is on their main branch. They have basically a whole bunch of branches. Interesting why 18's are ahead. They still update old branches. Here's the 4 days ago, this is the preview, and then there's the stable. But obviously, the 127 for some reason had a bug fix that needed to go in 2 weeks ago. So it's quite a lot of stuff here, a lot of branches they've got, and all sorts of stuff. This is actually not where they work. They actually work over here. Yeah, this is their repos. I mean, if we check contributing, because of the way they've got a massive amount of repos, it's not like cloning the Git repo and hit build. It's more like, use their tools, clone it, pull it. Now, luckily, I'm not building Skia the way Google wants. You got to use their, for example, if we look at the thing, right, you got to configure Git, and then you use the patches using, I forget, the Depot tools. Okay, the links aren't so great. Anyway, so you've got to run a bunch of stuff, and you work in a, not like, do a pull request and stuff. It's like, you're working in a sort of a branch, you're rebasing, and you send it into the source, this Google Git, Google source repo. So it's a bit different, but it's not too crazy. But I rarely have to use this because I'm not contributing towards like, I'm fixing a bug in Google Skia. Sometimes I do a little something that I need to use this, but typically when you work in SkiaSharp, you don't have to. You're basically saying, okay, Google, I'm going to take this branch of your code. Thank you very much. And I am going to try and run it through our build system and see what explodes. So fix those explosions, calm it down, and then basically you've got a new Skia build for SkiaSharp, and you just see if everything works. So the way I've set up this repo is that I just have everything as a submodule, just to make life easier. I mean, technically, some people don't like submodules and it's annoying, but this way it keeps it all together. So I would just clone the repo, and it looks like this. Once it's cloned, I'm just using git fork. Shout out to this guy, very cool. Yeah, they go on for Windows and Mac, very cool. I use all of the thing. I think it's for me the best Git interface. So, you know, judge me if you will. But in here I have my SkiaSharp repo. I've checked it out. Here's the main branch. And then I have a fork of Google Skia, and I use the SkiaSharp branch, which represents sort of main. Of course, I do have a secondary branch, which I'm maintaining the 2x release. This is older. This is the stuff. It's quite a clunky. Not clunky in the sense that it's a bad repo. It's just it's got a lot of old tooling. Like I have to install old versions of the Windows SDK. I have to install old versions of, you know, various .NETs just to get the thing to build. It's on its last leg, so, you know, hopefully I never have to touch that again. And of course, if I have to, there is a 2.x release, but that's never going to get a Skia update. Sorry, folks. It's too much pain. So that's what we got. So what we're going to do first of all is make sure we got our code checked out, which we have, and then I am going to go into the upstream and Chrome, and I'm going to look for the next milestone. So I'm first going to create a new branch. Dev, let's just do update skia-m118. Okay, creating a Skia branch, and you know what? Let's do the same right here, just to be cool at the same time. So I've got the 118 branch and a 118 branch. So then I just go over here. I'm going to do a merge. It's mostly painless. There's usually like 10 files that conflict. 8 of them have nothing to do with you, just that Google has on each branch done something back with the infrastructure. We'll see in a second. So I just use whatever. I'll use whatever the latest branch is. So for example, I'm going to merge this, a whole bunch of conflicts. I'm just going to say, hey, use the 118 code. And then of course the files that I care about, well, they no longer maintain the C API, so there's no conflicts there. So sometimes it's just random files. Like I've gone ahead and the last change was I need to build for tvOS. They didn't have the warnings configured because I don't think Google builds for tvOS. So it was a whole bunch of warnings and it just clogged up the build. So I fixed the warnings, by adding the correct, Objective-C attributes on it. And then of course I merged that upstream. Thank you, Google. And of course, then I had a whole bunch of conflicts, but of course, I knew how to fix that. And sometimes I had to add code for, oh, this is code for WinRT, or this is code for some old or different thing I was doing, I forget. Then I had to add some code in there. It's typically the UWP, which we don't really maintain as much anymore, although UWP is his way back. So I'm going to switch over to the different Wi-Fi. I don't know if I should be doing that live on stream. You know what? The Wi-Fi is gone. It's going to be fine. I'm not talking. Let's go with that. Okay. So I'm going to merge in here quickly. Oh, look at that. Conflicts out the gate. I don't know if it's big enough on screen. It's a little bit small, this one. I don't even know where to zoom it. I mean, there's probably like, what control? Alan's going to be upset with me. He tells me all the time. So it's a zooming thing, right? Windows control 1, something like that. So, oh my goodness. Sorry, Alan. I forgot the keyboard shortcut. Okay. So enough doodly-doodling. So nicely, this has 3 conflicts. For example, here's the infrastructure bot that I said was going to always conflict. I don't know why it always conflicts, but there's a bunch of them that if we were to scroll into the diff, obviously it's in the infrastructure, like a whole bunch of these sometimes conflict, but we don't care about that. We don't use Google CI infrastructure. So I'm just going to say resolve using the upstream stuff. Very nice. Release notes, again, we don't care about release notes because it's not a file. We don't care about it. So using upstream, but dependencies, we do. So the way Google works with the dependencies is like Skia depends on stuff, and they just pick the stuff that they're using. For example, they're using like a libxpat. Let's go have a look at the code. Dips, where is dips? BC dips. For example, here's a whole bunch of stuff that Skia depends on if you were to build in certain scenarios. So for example, we know that they use, like for example, libwebp, right? And I believe Google will pick like one that's quite old because the dependency is not transitive if I use it, because static and compiled, sort of like Chromium will have its own version sort of being used instead. So this tends to be quite old now because I use this as my sort of head of the build. I have to update these. So these are often that conflict. Okay, so EMSDK, technically, I don't need that, right? I commented out because I clone EMSDK separately in Skia because this is used if you're building a canvas kit, which is sort of a WASM sort of, think of it as a WASM build of Skia. So you can write some JavaScript code. We don't care about that. All we care about is WASM, but we are not building WASM API for JavaScript. We're building a WASM API for .NET. So we're using SkiaSharp for that. So we don't need the EMSDK at this level. So I comment that out because it brings in a whole bunch of stuff. It takes a long time to clone, and it runs a bunch of scripts, I think, to set up the repo to build using that, which we don't want. So EGR registry, this is sort of the GL stuff. I don't know why it changed, so I'm gonna just replace that. I don't know how to do cool git things, but I want that one. Oops, I've forgotten which one I have. That one. And oh, let me just quickly look at that. I've forgotten. Just cut that and let's replace that again. Okay. And then of course we got this one. Now these are the ones I have updated, like expat had a security fix that needed to happen. Interesting that they bumped. I just want to make sure that mine is the latest one. So I just go over here and quickly paste that in there, expat, and let's see. So this is what I have. So 6.2. What I want to check is now, I think we can look at that. Is there a version? Where's the version number? Forget where the version number is. README. No. README. 2.6.3. And what's the version that's coming in? I'll just paste that there. 2.5. Okay, so what I have is later, so we don't care with that. And of course, the same we do it with free type, right? I just go to free type and say, hey, I'm using free type. In this version, I will update the dependencies at a different point. I don't want to update dependencies and Skia at the same time. So I believe I can go to the README 2.13.1. That's what I have. And the new one coming in is 2.13.2. Oh. Interesting why they didn't. Now, I did just say I don't want to update those dependencies at the same time. But for some reason, Google went ahead of me and I'm pretty late. So maybe there was a secret security bugs that they didn't tell me about. So I'm just going to take that one and hop and again the free buzz, a half buzz. Yeah, I said I wasn't going to do it. I didn't plan on doing it. Typically, Google is behind me because I'm typically get people saying, hey, security vulnerabilities, and I bump my dependencies, and Skia typically doesn't need to because Skia doesn't actually exist. It's just a code base. Whereas Chromium will have a much later one. So let's go over there. Let's go head over to the README. And where do they keep their versions? Testing, everyone's news. There we go. So this is 830. And the one that's coming in is 811, right? So mine is later, so I don't care about that. And I'm just going to pull that. I think that's it, right? Just to make sure I didn't do anything crazy. Go to dependencies. I just send it across the wire, and let me just dips. Okay. A whole bunch of stuff changed, but all I care about is to make sure that things that are in here, Chronos, Vulkan, Swift Shader, free type. This is the one that the free type that we saw was slightly newer. The rest of the stuff I don't care about. I'm not using it. I don't have them as part of my build. So angle technically, but I don't build angle like that. Okay, so far what we found was there's only one dependency that was later than us. I took that, but the rest I didn't. I'm not quite sure why they bumped the free type. Can I see free? Oh, free type Basil. Subpix. Interesting. Oh, looks like they did a bit of work in the free type code area. Okay. So maybe they needed a feature or a bug fix or something. So no, it doesn't really matter. So yeah, basically that's done. So merging 2000 files, and of course, as you can see, the cool merge has happened. So let's hope this is all we have to do. If this is all we have to do, I might bump it one more time, just so that we can get a more realistic idea what's going to happen. So I'm not even bother going to the terminal. I'm just going to open the terminal here. So what I'm going to do now is, assuming no code changes happen that affect us, so just bug fixes, no API changes, everything should be good. However, we don't know that, so let's just check. So I'm going to use .NET, .NET Cake, and I'm going to build externals Windows and x64. So I'm just going to build the native libraries of the external Skia and x64. Technically, I can build all of them. I can pick whatever one. So if you're on a Mac, you can build the Mac OS. If you care about playing with iOS, you build iOS. It doesn't really matter. Typically, they're all the same. I mean, there are some that are different. For example, working with the fonts. Windows doesn't use font config. It uses direct write, and Mac uses core text. So there's different code paths, obviously, on the Mac. Whoops. Okay, so in order to prevent other issues from happening, I have a defensive mechanism in here to catch me when I forget, because it causes problems with versioning. If I go to the scripts folder, I head over to the versions, and I'm just going to call 117 and replace that with 118. So this is the file that is read by other parts of the build system. So the top half here is not really used. It's used in some cases for checking. It's part of a whole bunch of mess in the build scripts. I need to clean up things, but it goes into this file and says, okay, I've got a Skia dependency. I want the release version. That's the M over here. And this error is happening probably because I am scanning, hey, live SkiaSharp should have been 117, but it actually goes to scan the Skia code and says, well, it's actually 118. So we go over here, and this is where it reminds me to update the SO name and SO name, however you like it. And what actually was happening is when I go to a stable version of 3.0, I would have the version of Skia, for example, in there. And I'll get a whole bunch of warnings saying my Skia is later or earlier than what I'm advertising at. So this file is, all the version numbers are read from here. And I then have random parts of the build script that will detect if I go out of sync. So save that again, run Windows build. I typically build Windows. When that's all good, I then send it over to CI, and they'll capture the other ones. And for example, if Android's broken, then I'll try build Android. And of course, if it picks out like, oh, tvOS is broken, then I'll go to the Mac and build tvOS. So using that deps file earlier, here it is, busy checking out all the dependencies. It's very quick because everything was up to date. Well, these were quick. It took a bit longer. I'm pretty sure I didn't check out font config. Maybe we're not using it on Windows, so I didn't need to check it out. Maybe it's there and I can't see it, but it doesn't matter. At all green. Okay. I detected 1,000 changes. Now this is going to take some time, so we can twiddle our thumbs. Mostly because I'm on a Surface Book that's streaming, and yeah. But we can just wait and see. Let's have a look at the change log, just so we can get sort of a heads up if anything crazy is going to happen. I don't know why this had very little conflict. So, yesterday when I was working on it, there was a bunch of conflicts. I was like, oh, this is cool to bring up in a talk if I was ever going to mention it. And then, of course, release notes. Let's minimize that. Lots of squiggles. My MS Docs plugin is warning me. So this is a bunch of stuff that Google has found was notable in each release. So we are going from 117 to 118. So let's have a look. For example, we use the direct context, so this attracts my attention. The flash we do, and now we say various. I expect the surface pointer, not a SKSP. So here's what I'm talking about. Interesting pointers is they're not using like direct pointers like surface star or something, or surface that, depending. They're actually using an SP, which is sort of I think they started using this because they originally were using old C++, which obviously Chromium is millions of years old. They didn't have all the fancy smart pointers. I think that's what SP stands for, smart pointer. Maybe wrong. If anyone's out there that knows, don't hate on me. So basically, you don't have to go right and deal with pointers, creation and deletion. When escape pointer goes in, when you assign it to a variable, then it will basically add its reference counted, so add 1, and then of course when it goes out of scope, it goes to -1, and of course when you, after adding and removing, as you're passing it around, everyone's holding a reference to it. And the last guy has a reference to it. When they finished with it, it goes out of scope, it gets decremented to 0 references, and then it will auto delete the object. So yeah, I mean that's pretty cool. So we don't have to deal with weird pointers. But it does make it interesting to work with when I don't expose that this feature. It's not a feature in like .NET, right? .NET has a garbage collector, so this object exists and it floats around, whereas in C++, you've got to delete it. So when we pass a canvas, for example, or a surface that's an SK pointer, SKSP from C++, we need to, update so we've got a lookup table and say, oh, we already have this object, so don't increment the reference. Just basically have a single reference that represents all of .NET as reference. So you can have 5 C# references to this particular surface. However, according to this native code, you only have 1 reference, the .NET reference. So that allows us, when the garbage collector runs in C#, it's collected. That will then cause a decrement, which will then collected in C++. If you have multiple references in C#, for example, you get the surface and you get it again, it's going to increment the counter, it's going to increment the counter again, and then what will happen is the garbage collector runs in C#, it's just going to decrement 1 time, but now the whole object is gone from C#, but we still have sort of a floating reference that doesn't exist, which then leaks the native object. So, you know, I probably need to talk about that at a later stage. Maybe I can have a look at what is SkiaSharp deep internals and how it all works. But basically, Google uses this, or the C++ library uses this to sort of do it. In the C++ world, we need to be aware of certain scenarios and say, hey, make sure we're not accidentally leaking when we hop the bridge. However, in some cases, they don't use this because you're not supposed to have a reference to it, in the sense that you create a surface. All surfaces have a canvas, and the canvas directly tied to the surface's life. So they don't have like a reference counted canvas, because when the surface goes out of scope, all the canvases must die. Obviously, if you put a reference to the canvas, you basically have a bad object. But basically, that's up to you. That's sort of like when we expose a direct pointer, be aware that you don't control this object. And of course, if you have a SKSP object or a smart pointer object, then you are part of the life cycle. Then, of course, that was a long ramble on this section, but the next one is make with filter. SK image, something exploded. We'll have a look at that in a second, but let's have a quick look at this. Make with filter. So it has been deprecated. It's been replaced with 3 factory functions. So we use Ganesh and raster. This is the CPU. This is the GPU. They are working on a graphite, which is a new GPU. One day I'll expose that. That's not going to change the Skia APIs. It's just sort of how you create a GPU canvas is different. So I don't recall these. Maybe we're using it. So FYI, keep a mental note of SK images. So somehow you're going to make an image with some sort of filter. I don't know what that filter is. Image filter, color filter, some sort of blend filter. We'll have a look at that. Okay, SKSL, this is a shader language. So you can write sort of GPU shaders in SkiaSharp using, you know, GL shader language code almost, and you can basically create some cool effects. I can actually show you that. So the Skia documentation. Let's see if we can find it. What am I looking for, Matthew? SKSL. It's pretty cool stuff. Yeah, shaders, let's get it all. So for example, you would write, let's click this, loading it. So you write a shader, and then basically this has a bunch of inputs. For example, in this particular one, I think it's just time. Oops. Time that matters. Oh, they've got, okay, that's just the effect. It's not part of the shader. We can see time here is all they care about. But they do have some other ones. Let's see. We got time, resolution. I think resolution is the viewport, obviously, to center it. Where's the one that shows you some cool stuff? Is it this one? Nope. There's many codes here. Mouse, yeah. So we can, as I click and drag, I can zoom around the cosmos. So it's pretty cool. This is all running at where's the FPS? There, 120 FPS. This is running on the GPU, and this is all cool code that's been written in the shaders. So definitely, you can do some cool things. Actually, let's see if I can find it. Let's see. So I know. Oh, how do you pronounce? Let's see if I can remember. Oh, I'm not signed it. You know what? Let's do it. I hope it doesn't ask me for some single sign-on or authentication. Just log me into my social network. And if I search for Tao, blah, why do I feel like that's? I don't know why. No, was that his GitHub handle? Oh, yes, this guy. Very cool. He has a library called Drawn UI, which is very cool. It's running on SkiaSharp, and he keeps talking about some cool things. Like here, for example, here's using shader effects, right? So if I run this, you see the ripples happening. He was working on. I'm trying to find the real cool one. What is his Twitter handle? I feel like I should need to know this because he's a cool guy. And look at that, he's using his real name. If I go to Nick and then I go look for like this, here's the page turn, right? I believe this is using shaders, right? It's pretty cool, right? So if we zoom in here, I'm going to scroll back. So he's basically got ahead, and I think, correct me if I'm wrong, universe, I think it's using shaders. So he picks a cube, and then you can do all of this stuff by rendering in shaders. So it's pretty cool. And definitely go check out his stuff. What else has he shared? Lots of tweetings and retweetings. Okay, I don't know why. Every time I look at it, it's got some cool effects. Maybe Twitter only shows me things that I'm gonna like, so it knows I like his projects he's working on. So yeah, anyway, so that's cool shader stuff. Obviously, they're saying it's no longer optional, but we include it, so it doesn't really matter. We don't use SK time, and we don't use Vulkan specific calls on this one. We may get a warning on this because we might be using something in here and they're moving it, they're organizing their code. So back to the code here. There we go. Look here. Interesting. Let's have a look at this one, right? Enums. So enums, Google tends to break enums on occasion. So in this particular one, can I? Yeah, look at that. No, I can't. I can do externals /skia/ go. Okay, so it's saying here no dawn is found. Let's go look and see what they've got. Oh no, where's my C#? Let's install that. I'm pretty sure I installed it last night, but who knows? This one I know is in. Can I click it? Control click? No. I do GR backend. Oh, there we go. Oh, look at that. IntelliSense. So Ganesh doesn't support Dawn. Okay, let's. You know what? Dawn used to be a cool one, but now it's not a cool one, it seems. Ganesh doesn't, but unsupported. So let's see. Do we have Dawn in there? Oh, look at that. I totally missed this point. I was like skipping over it. But here we go. The Dawn backend for Ganesh has been removed. Dawn will continue to be supported in the Graphite backend. Okay. We don't actually support Dawn. We're exposing the API specifically to Dawn, but we do have it in the enum. Now, what I'm going to probably have to do is add unsupported, and this is where things get a little bit exciting. So what has happened, if I go look, do I have this GR backend? Here we go. So OpenGL, Vulkan, Metal Direct 3D. So let's quickly put this side by side, close the sidebar. So they have OpenGL, Vulkan, Metal Direct 3D. Now, obviously, I had Dawn. They have Dawn there. Now, this is a bit annoying because this is a C# enum. I can't just remove the enum from C#. So mock back and draw anything. It's used as unit tests. It's used for unit tests. Okay, we don't want mock, but we do want unsupported. And then OpenGL. Okay, so what I'm going to do is something that I'm gonna. So in this case, the C API is not set in stone in the sense that I will break the C API. The C API is supposed to closely match the C++ API, and I try and never break the C# API. So what I'm going to do here is say, hey, this is the new backends, right? We don't count mock. Mock is for their unit testing. So we used to have Dawn. They decided to remove Dawn and they added unsupported. So if I can just confirm that, just quickly edit that file and here and here, history. There we go, right? So they've gone ahead and removed Dawn and they added unsupported. So something is going to return unsupported down the line. So what we want to do is add our own unsupported into the C API, and Dawn is gone. Now, what I believe, let's confirm, but let's figure out C# later. Let's just get the C++ API building. Let's build it again. Yeah. So this is something that we're going to have to not break in C#. If that's something that makes any sense. Oh, I need to fix the enum. So this is sort of just a static analysis to catch this particular thing, because often I wouldn't catch it, and you would be passing enums around and with all random values in the C# world. So remember, with Dawn is gone, so unsupported. Just move that there. 3, and of course, let's just move all of that nicely aligned. Of course, Dawn's gone, so it's unsupported. Okay. Okay. So let's just make sure that the enums, I think it's going to fail because, yeah, it's going to fail. So what I need to do is go over here. Remember, this is 0, 1, 2, 3, 5. This is 4, and that's 5. So we need to go 0. Let's just add this here equals 0, 1, 2, 3. All right. So remember, enums are like const, so we can't just go swap out the const. So these have to now match. Dawn was there at 4. Just copy that. Okay, no. So we'll fix this mismatch now in the C#, right? So the C++ API can change to be whatever value. The C# can't change. So waiting for some more building to happen, and then got an error earlier on. Let's wait some more. What else? What else is interesting to look at? Yeah, so enums are, I suppose, the most annoying to fix. It's the most work to fix, but not crazy. You know, a lot of the time I'm just waiting for. Yeah, obviously it goes way faster when you're not streaming and recording. So we just sit here, sit here and wait for the build to happen. Waiting. Yeah. I suppose we're going to have a quick look at yesterday's bump. That was a fun rush. Yeah. So this pull request. This was quite a big one, and things that changed. Let's go look at the PR. Skia. Then I have a pull request. Let's go have a look at that pull request. Here we go. So besides the billions of minutes, here we go. These are the ones that changed. So they previously deprecated this API, and then they were let's show you the code. Show you the code, because that's not what they have. That's my code. Waiting for this massive file to load. It was canvas, I think, SK. Yeah, so they removed the canvas flush the surface flash and the surface flash and submit. So let's go over to the canvas. Let's go look over here. SK canvas. This many files. Never this. There we go. So they remove, for example, the flash, right? Obviously, it's canvas flash. They basically says deprecated, and I believe, okay, they tell you right here, but it's in the change logs. We can check as well. See, canvas flash is removed, is replaced with, get your canvas, you get the sort of the direct context or the recording context, and you cast it to direct context, and then you flash the context. Previously, you flashed the canvas, but it never did anything except you were on certain backends, for example, GL. Obviously, if you've got a bitmap, you've redrawn the pixels, there's nothing to flash. So this was doing nothing. This one, I think they're trying to be more intentional, is a word, and they've done this again with they didn't mention surface.flash, right? But it's the same thing for thing, right? The surface, you don't flash the surface. You say, hey, backend, surface, give me your backend. The backend, flash the backend. So if we look at the code for that, the implementation, well, doesn't really matter. So there was this flash API that we need to call, and the same with SkiaSharp flash and flash. They had, here we go. They deprecated it, and the flash and submit, right? It's gone now. So I go over to SkiaSurface, my C API. I was obviously calling it, but now it's gone, right? So I believe, according to the docs, if we head over to there, you need to call, from the canvas, get the recording context, get the direct context, or cast it in C++, the direct context, and then, of course, flash the context. So in the case of SkiaSharp, we then, right? So we basically added a new API to get the recording context and then get the surface. Well, the surface is another feature, but get the recording context. And this recording context is going to be an object. So if I was to go to, like this, right? So I've just gone ahead and added a new API in the canvas code. As they said, get the recording context. So it's mostly not crazy things you have to do. So I get the canvas, get the recording context, and I just cast it to the C pointer. So just return that. Then in the C++, C# API, I went ahead and made a few changes. So here's the canvas. It used to be canvas.flash, just direct, but now I say, hey, get the context. Here's the context. I get the recording context as mentioned, in the docs, in the release notes, in the comments, in the code. You get the recording context, and this recording context is probably going to be a GR context. So in the C++ API, this is basically doing some, casting and some type checking, and if it's the real type, do the thing. Otherwise, return null. In our case, we just do as, because that's how C# works. I don't know, my face is not covering it, and I flash that. And obviously, the GR context has an existing flash method. And then, of course, with the surface, it had the flash and submit. Well, the same thing has happened. Get the context. If it's GR context, flash or flash and submit, right? So the C# API is the same. The C++ API is totally different, if we're going to say it. And that's sort of things you have to do. So obviously, in this particular instance, they've gone ahead and reordered, if you will, or updated an enum. We have to do the same to make sure our C API matches theirs, because where we use this one, we directly cast, if you will, to the value. We're passing the value around. So this has to match the C# API. This is the C enum, has to match the C# enum, and that's what I have this particular file for. to make sure all the values are the same. Then, of course, okay, we've got some exciting, many excitements. Okay, things have gone sideways. So let's just try and solve all of these now. So GR backend texture. I don't remember that. Oh, is there anything GR backend texture? Fingers crossed they've just moved something. Okay, so in the GR context, the CPP, and they said on line 219, this one, GR backend texture, GR, oh dear. Okay, no matching constructor for GR backend texture. I am doing here, new. Okay, let's go find this. Why is my constructor missing? Can I zoom out one more to make those lines not wrap? No. Okay. Here we go. No viable conversion const GR texture info const mock texture information. Interesting. Am I doing something scary? Interesting. Where is my backend texture graphite? Interesting. Finish. It's gone. Can we find it? There it is. Backend surface. GR backend SK metal direct 3D. GR mapped mock. Where's the GL? Interesting. Okay. So my code usually created a GR backend texture and I pass in GL texture info. Right? Width, height, mapped, and the GL info, right? Information about the GL context. They're saying this is gone. Suddenly. Scary. Maybe I'm missing something. Scrolling up to GR, backend format. Where's backend texture? Metal direct 3D mock texture. I'm just going to put a space there, head over to Skia code, and then just quickly check the history. It's usually we moved this thing to an amazing thing. Oh, there we go. Look at that. Removing bridge code. So this typically means that they did something many moons ago, and then disable legacy back in GL surface. And let's see. What did they do? Let's see if we can find it. Let's go find this commit and see if there's any other information about where it came from. Let's go to Skia. Let's go use their source. Woohoo. I don't know. That's going to work there. There we go. Remove code. What did the ransomware include? Issue GR GPUs. Okay, so they've gone ahead and removed a whole bunch of stuff. So at some point, yeah, so let's just go further back and see where it moved to. Relan, right? They try to remove it. Okay, let's quickly see what they did here. Let's just go. Oh, many things have happened. Oh, GR backend service. So let's go to include. There we go. Okay, so they've gone ahead. GR backend texture. They've moved things around. All right. So I need. So what I was looking at here. this I know I'm looking for example, in the case of GL backend texture somewhere, here we go. They've gone ahead and effectively removed this particular constructor, and that's the one I want. So in this particular one, they've removed it. Backend, that's backend surface, backend render, this render target, where's backend texture? One of them. Backend texture, this one. One of them. I forget. Anyway, it doesn't really matter. We've gone ahead and removed it, and then they've put it into this new file. Typically, it's something like that. I'm not quite sure. This is probably a very old, another sort of probably shortcut. Let's go quickly have a look at the release notes. And actually, let's copy this back in texture. Probably can just search the release notes. Scroll to the top. 97. Oh, okay. Okay, so I didn't seem to mention anything. So it's no longer in here in this generic backend surface, but it will be in GL, backend include, Ganesh, GL, backend surface. There we go. So there's the backend texture stuff. So they have gone ahead and stuck it into this thing. So what do we have to do, right? They've moved the type into a different namespace and stuff. Very interesting. It didn't appear in the change log, but no matter. Let's copy relative path. So we probably need to go look and say, hey, we're going to do a hash include and paste that. And of course, we can go all the way there. We need to include the GPU, finish, and of course the GL. There we go. Then of course, we need to update the backend texture for GL, only GL. So probably going to have to do backend textures. I bet you it's not appearing because it's conditionally compiled. No. Make GL. Backend textures, make GL, and that's my one. GR. Oops, my bad. Nope, that one. Let's make GL. Okay. JSON. Oh, there it is, right there. Make GL. Come on, Matthew. Right. So there's that one. Tricky thing is going to happen. No. Backend texture. Texture info. Okay. That's the only one that was failing. Probably should use a separate terminal window, but why? Why have the good life? And here we go. Okay. They mentioned the VK one, right? I recall seeing. This is why I sort of as well. I sort of see. I didn't realize it was related, but now that I do, sort of made my psycho knowledge knew about it. Basically, they are removed from the backend surface here, the Vulkan. Vulkan's not there, and they've moved it into the one. So if I go over to geo context, I can probably just go and do VK, right? Check. Nope. Finish VK, GR VK. And of course, here it is. And the same thing, it'll be GR backend textures, make VK. So that's quite simple. It's nice. VK, so we go back in textures. And of course, hey, there, make VK. So obviously metal is not done yet, but I'm pretty sure they're going to do something similar in the future. Now, of course, without the way, I bet you there's another render target. This one, right? Do they have the render? Their background render target. Background. Doesn't matter. that one, and we're going to do make GL, and of course the Vulkan make VK. Go, and of course I feel like there's a third something, probably this one. Nope, let's see that. Okay, so that I feel like those two are changed. They just moved stuff as they're trying to improve the APIs because they're adding a new backend. Backend surface I found, backend render target. Okay, it's the other one that blew up. GL get frame buffer info. Oh, just check there. No, there we go. They've added a new static API. So this used to be an instance method on the backend render target, but they clearly don't do that sort of thing anymore. So this was line 302, 302. There we go. Okay, what are they doing? They are doing replacing the instance method. We have IntelliSense to help us. Nope. So we're probably going to take a render target, if I remember that, render target in and a frame buffer out that returns a Boolean. So there's a render target in and a frame buffer out. So basically, nothing too crazy. Calling the method, pass in the render target and get out the frame buffer. Okay. Oh, that's it. So the reason this looked really scary with hundreds of things, all because of the macro here. For example, this only GPU is a macro that does a whole bunch of stuff. Causes skip arg, skips the last parameter if it's true and skips the first parameter if it's false. Basically, I can go only run this on the GPU, or if the GPU is enabled, the GPU code is enabled, otherwise do that, right? So in the case of the GPU compiler is, if I've defined Ganesh, or in the case Vulkan or Metal, then I can just say, hey, if it's true, call that, otherwise if it's false, do that. And you can see some crazy stuff happening in, for example, here's Vulkan, so I can have the GPU but not Vulkan, and that just allows me to not have to do hundreds of conditionals for every line here, like if GPU do this, otherwise do that, just one line. All right. Building. Hopefully 800 files to go. We'll see. It's an iterative approach. Back in the old days, it was without the checks and the tests, things would just explode and you were like, what happened? And enums had swapped values and whole things appeared differently. But I think now, not only with the checks helping us catch some things, but also the APIs are mostly stable. And with the introduction of the new Graphite backend, the most changes that you would ever hit are GPU changes. And it's mostly to do like we did. Oh, we just moved the types into, I feel like this one is going to GL texture info. No. There we go. This one's going to fail too. Backend texture, GL texture out. So preemptively call that, cast that, texture in, GL texture out. Let's have a look at this file and see what else is in here that's interesting. Basically, this file is all the new locations. So make GL for the texture, get the texture info. I don't think I use this one. And of course, make GL render target, get the backend information. And why is the Vulkan get image info? Do I use that? I feel like I'm using the one. No. Oh, this is why I'm streaming on the computer. I accidentally hit the F12 button is right next to the power button. My finger slipped. Luckily, it's a separate computer, and obviously I typed in my PIN or something wrong. Oh, let's go back. Let's pretend none of this happened. Let's present again, and we can just enjoy what just happened. There is Bowling Foster on the sort of side note. Okay, quickly share my screen and make sure. Oh, there it is. It's going to go back. Look at that. Okay. Let's have a look what else in here. Set image layout. I don't think I call that make VK, get VK image info. Oh, why we don't have the VK info? Interesting. It's an API that nobody used, nobody wanted. I just got to sit here and wait for the compiling to happen. See, as I said, it runs way faster without the streaming happening. And also, I think the fastest building is building iOS. Yeah, if we go back to the other changes that happened, let's just cancel that. The other things that happened. Oops. Here we can check the APIs that changed in the SkiaSharp side. No, this is the unref existing which I added here, because let's have a look at that. So in the case of a GR context, which one will be this? The surface. Okay, yeah. So if I go to SK, they have SK canvas here, right? This is a sort of a pointer in C#. It's the point in C#. This means canvas is returned and managed by the SK surface and is deleted when the surface is deleted. So no reference counting happening here. Maybe they do reference counting internally, probably, but not here. But in the case of capability, for example, or here's let's find a better example. Is there a better example that's owned, but also not really? Okay, it doesn't really matter. Let's just use this as an example. This one is going to return a new or an existing image, SK image, but it's using the SKSP. So what happens is this is returning the image. This is actually reference counting. We head over to here. When we return it, when we look, yeah, for example, here's safe unref. So when this object is sort of out of scope, the delete happens because you never have a pointer to SKSP. SKSP is the pointer. The safe unref basically says, oh, the object is now, not now, then unref it. And if I find unref, oh, I can just Google this. Like, oh, here's the unref. Ref, we add one to ref count, but if we unref, we subtract one, and if of course it was the last one, so after this operation it's going to be 0, then of course we delete it. So reference counting is done by that, and that's why we have two different pointers. So when this object is returning to C#, we have to automatically dereference it. So when we call this method from C#, it's going to return this method, and C++ is going to automatically reference count it. We need to then undo that reference counting and just hold on to it. However, in this case of the canvas, we need to have a different one to not automatically unreference it, because if you automatically unreference this, it will just destroy it, and the C++ object will just choke and die. Okay. This is exciting. So here we go. No viable conversion from GR backend texture to GR backend texture. Oh, const, not const. Okay. Clearly, haven't consted it. 2 to 1. So in this particular, oops, GL backend texture, we are no, make GL backend texture, to backend texture, const to pointer. Am I missing? Wait a second. Oh dear. I need to see. So they've gone ahead and they're going to make a new texture. Is this no longer reference counted or something? GL backend texture. Make GL reference texture. Backend service pref. So look. They create a new backend texture. Oh, there. So we've gone from a happy place to a less happy place. Okay, so previously, for example, we can check when we do, I would use the constructor and I would get a new, so then I would pass back a pointer. But now the new way, we don't have pointers. That's thing. So this method returns the object gets collected. Woo! I think that's what's going to happen, right? Here it is. Okay. Make your backend texture. Okay, so that's a bit annoying. Not really changed. Okay. This is going to make the texture. It's going to do modify it and then return it. Now this class goes ahead. Someone's going to construct it. Oh, so the copy constructor being passed around. It's very annoying. But it's just like a lightweight struct at this point. But I still can't do anything, right? Because I can't. Why did they do that? Why did they have to change the time? This is it's very annoying. Do that for now. Just get this thing apply. I think that's the right symbol. That's frustrating. Took away my constructor. Are they really gonna, as I pass that value around, they're just gonna copy and make a new copy? Backend priv, make backend texture. This is a way, no? See, that's why I'm wondering why they had the reference there. Get and cast data. Let's go back to the first one. Let's just see. So this is where the annoyingness is going to be happening. Whoops. Yeah, there we go. Address of a temporary object. Woohoo! Right. Now this gets a. Take away my cheese. So now you creating it the way you want to. You're passing that puppy around. Back in textures, make GL. Let's go there. Let's look at the game. Maybe I can back in texture. Formats. Now we need back in. Here we go, nice mental constructor. So I'm going to be psych myself up because it's going to happen again to all the others. Ooh, a bit of a long day. Probably should take a nice little break, especially after seeing this, because this is going to require, look at this at is this, if that. If this is equal to that, then return this. And we copy width type, map and texture type. Then of course we switch over the GL data, reset the current data, and we copy the new data into that. Basically, they are copying the contents of this object around. Yeah, I'm not happy. Yeah, and basically I've gone from, I can just got my object that I've created in C++, pass the pointer around to like, well, I've given you this object that's not a pointer. I can't get the address of it because, well, you know, as soon as this method finishes or function finishes, it's going to clean itself up. Quick think about this. How can we solve it? Can we solve it? Backend texture. Where do we use the backend texture? GR backend texture. And let's just skip externals. Back everywhere. This backend texture is effectively, yeah, it is the memory address of the texture. Right? Yeah. But they're saying no more. And of course, it's not reference counted, so I can't lie. Is it? Yeah, it's not. It's just simple. Just a simple object that's gonna probably be destroyed. And this does not have a nice copy construct. Does it? Does it? Oh, maybe. Wait, do not panic yet, Matthew. Maybe I can try something a little crazy. Can I do you? Can I just do that? Just create a new one. I don't know if that's wrong. Can I just paste that in the chat, so to speak, and just say, hey, just do it, bro. I don't know if that's going to be allowed. And if my pointers and references and dereferencing has happened. Oh. Texture info. Oh, that's my C#. Because I really don't want to have to rewrite the way things like, I mean, there's one thing that potentially could happen. You create some sort of random object that happens to hold a reference to this. Whew, I don't want to do that. But maybe I can do that. What does this do? This is equal to that. We can see, right? This is the GL. It'll explode, and we can even. So I'm going to show you how to debug. So if it's different errors. Nope, it's still going, so that means something's different. It hasn't choked and exploded. There we go. Okay. Phew. TR backend textures. Yes, that's right. I did mean that. Oh, it's not even AI. It's just intelligent compilers. So it's line 257. I think we fixed it. GR backend and okay. Quite know why. And then of course this one I need to do for the Vulkan, right? Where was he? Where was there we go. Oh, what did I mean? GR backend textures, right? GR backend textures, okay. Const get texture info, okay. Const backend texture, not binder of const backend texture star. 257, just where I was earlier. 257. So let's have a look. This is taking a reference. Oh, okay. Oops. We've got a pointer coming in. This takes a reference, and I need to dereference it. Right. We shall find out if the compiler was happy with it. I think that's what happens, right? So I'm coming in, my reference target, I need to get that. I believe that is what I need to do. Back in texture. GR texture info. Right, that's one. Where was that? There, the GR back in texture. Okay. Make VK, back and rate the target. Oh, what? Too many arguments, 53 DR4. Okay, make Vulkan change something. It's not smooth cheese. Width, height, samples, info. We've got, and I'm looking at back and rate the targets. Make VK width, height, info. Oh, 1 versus VK info sample count. Oh my goodness, they moved the cheese. VK info. They probably put the samples in here. See, this is where things get exciting. I bet their sample count. Was that in there before? Here's the samples. I wonder if I was to just go back. See, here's another cool thing I do sometimes. Wrong one. We don't want to look at the stream. Skia, and I want to go to look at the one on Google, so search. I want to go to where it was 117, right? This was yesterday, and I was looking at backend render targets, which is a GR backend surface. So if I go to GR backend surface, and I am going to look at this one. Then I'm going to use, which one was I checking? Backend render targets. GR backend render targets. And then, of course, here's the Vulkan. This is right. Here's the sample one. Deprecate. There we go. Sample comes ignored and instead retrieved from the metal texture. And, of course, this was probably the same thing happened. There we go. So 1,000 years ago, I should have fixed this. So the way I can fix this is to move the cheese. So Vulkan, we no longer care about the samples. Same with the metal. Let's just do that. Right, and the GL, is GL Dawn, didn't have it. Direct 3D had sample counts. And mock, where is the GL? Back in render target. Where is the GL? GL information. Come on. Go back in render targets. Dawn, Vulkan, Metal, Direct 3D. Wow. This is 117. GRGL. Did that really move that? If they move the cheese? GR, no. Nish, I wonder if we got lucky because it was. There you go. Okay. This was always here, so I can't even remember what this code looked like before. If I go to geo context, didn't I have to? Yeah. GR backend texture. According to the code, GR backend texture, there was a construct. GR backend service. And I was passing in frame buffer info. Frame buffer. There it is. Look at that, right at the bottom. Okay. And I bet you if I'd gone here and then I go look at GR backend surface, let's just see what they did previously. Just to make sure that I'm on the right track. Whoops. This is the one. There we go. And then backend texture, and then of course just quickly find that GL one. Yeah. Metal, Rec 3D, GRGL. Okay, it's in another place, doesn't really matter. So there we go. Render targets, make info. Okay. So we remove the samples and samples. All right. We did that. So we need to gr underscore content. Oops. And we need to make sure we update backend texture. Here we go. Backend render target. the Vulcan and the metal no longer have it in here. So this is going to cause the C# to fail a build, but that's easy to fix. We add an overload and we just ignore the samples because that's what was happening before. We just, instead of it being ignored in C++, we now ignore it in C#. And there we go. Backend render targets, get you up frame by frame. But I bet you I fix this already. Yeah, there we go. Okay. Ugh. Love the cheese when it's moved. Oh, 500 files changed. So far, we've got an enum that's changed. Just put that in the staged. We've got a method that has changed. And of course, the implementation has moved from just create directly is that you ask us and you can copy it if you want. Ask us for Vulcan, ask us for GL. Metal's probably going to get it in like the next version. And of course, you have to use their static methods to go get the stuff. Make the GL, make the VK, and of course get backend render target done. And of course, GL frame buffer. And it's the Vulcan one. Do not save. Oh, I didn't have it. Again, I got distracted. Let's scroll to the top. Oh, much less errors. GR backend render target. No function returned that to make GL. Const. Two six four. Okay. Oh. Oops. Fingers crossed it's just this as well. Let's see. Please be this. It'll make my life very much happier to know that the cheese was moved, but it's still the same. There we go. Phew. Okay. That's okay. It's all cheesy. Okay. We're lucky we got that. Sometimes we don't always get that nice little, you know, pointification. What's that? Move the enums? Oh, too fast. I'm getting a bit tired here. Probably should take a break. Oh, hey, Johnny. Oh, it's just no. It's fun. It's fun. I may not look like I'm having a lot of fun. I am. I'm quite tired. It's almost midnight here. Yeah, babies were screaming a bit, so didn't get as much rest as I should be getting. Working with SkiaSharp is I enjoy it. It's like its own sort of challenges as while being protected by the fact that I'm not writing, the engine and the bugs are mine to fix, and it's more I enjoy taking something that's otherwise inaccessible to .NET developers. Like Skia is pretty cool, but nobody really can use it unless you do a lot of work, and just making it there and seeing things people work on. Like I was looking at earlier at Nick's work. I know he does. I've never still got his nick.com/Nick Kowalski. Look at that. I got his name right. Hopefully, first time. He's got some cool stuff over here. So definitely go check out his GitHub. He has his game he's making clearly rendered with like 1,000 frames a second. Let's look at this one. Is this from him? No, it's Jean-Marie. The Sharknado. Like this one. Here's some cool effects he's doing. Let's look at his media, right? This is a thing we can do on Twitter. Oh yeah, this is the one with the ripple. like ripples with reflection. I don't know how infinite ripples with reflection. Did he? He didn't. Look at that. Everyone's talking about how amazing iOS is. The neck goes and like, well, anyway, I can do it. Is this an initial ripple? So yeah, he's got his own drawn UI, so you can do some pretty cool stuff in Maui. Obviously, the GIF is not going to load. Yeah. Let's see. Can I find? I feel like he had a game that was running 1,000 frames. Oh, here we go. Here's another one. Make some cool stuff. Lottie and as you can tell with his SAML, he's got an interesting font. None of that monospace nonsense. Yeah. And of course, I know the parts of the Uno people platforms are written, running the SkiaSharp engine, as well as the Avalonia and some stuff. I think Avalonia UI SkiaSharp, something there must be. I know they do a lot of their stuff. Version of SkiaSharp is Avalonia, that's pretty fun. And yeah, I mean, I always like taking stuff that it's cool, but you can't use it to emphasize it. What are they saying? Okay. It's been a year since I've updated Skia. So I'm hoping. What's this? Is this Avalonia talking about fragment shaders? Is this like Skia fragment shaders? Yeah, there we go. Skia fragment. Yeah, this is the cool stuff. I enjoy looking to see what can happen with this shader toy. Bunch of instructions. I'm gonna share this. So you create your Avalonia stuff. Woohoo! We care about UI. Scrolling. Give me the Skia code. There we go. The uniforms and the effect, and the composition handler, and then you tie up the runtime effect to various data thingies. Yeah, this is cool. I didn't realize this. I must just I just send a tweet out live on stream while CI is building. This started off as like, oh, I'm gonna do a quick update, show you how easy it is. And I'm quite tired, and then switch to the Skia face. I've lost all control of my X. Things have gone sideways. Oh, Twitter's broken. Okay. I clearly haven't logged into the SkiaSharp account. But what I would do is I'll keep that open and then log in later. I think I feel like he's done a contribution or something, or he was helping me get, was it the Linux embedded, or find something, fix something. I recognize the face. Hello. Yeah, this is cool. I didn't realize this. This is nice. I suppose this is useful. Let me just put on my own account there. Ooh, this looks cool. And I wonder if this works. I wonder if this is helpful to learn about SKSL in SkiaSharp. I just at myself in SkiaSharp. I need to have a nice read later. There we go. shout out to the community. Let's have a look at what Uno framework SkiaSharp. The Uno framework, Uno platform. It's just, let's see. I think it's the WebAssembly. They do some cool stuff. This is an older blog. Oh yes, Jerome from the Uno side, very cool. He basically did all of the WebAssembly stuff. He was like, give me WebAssembly, and also did the Lottie or the Scotty. He was like, I want it, and I was like, okay, I'll have a look. And he was like, here's the PR. So this one, Dev2, was that just a repost of what I just read? Yeah, pretty cool. So a lot of the lining stuff, I try and let the Avalonia folks help me with that, and the WebAssembly stuff, and also now recently with some later updates for the WinApp SDK stuff. The Uno people have been really cool. So yeah, hashtag community and all that. Let's get back to the grind, if you will. Okay. Oh, success and happiness. GL get frame buffer. Did GL get rendered? There we go. Get GL with frame buffer info. Get frame buffer info. Do I mean render targets? Oh my goodness. This is why I like compile. Like right now, I'm quite tired. My brain is off, right? So if I'm sounding like sort of a brain dead speaking, that's because I'm semi-brain dead. But yeah, this is why we like compilers. I'm not going to smack on non-compiled languages or interpreted, as the cool kids like to call it. Look at that. They even tell me where it's declared. I mean, I don't know who these compiler guys are, but they're just like, I literally am just looking at the errors like, okay, yes. Oh, I don't know what that is. Let me see what the comment was in the code. Okay, that's what it is. And then I'm copying and pasting. And then, of course, I think also when I did yesterday's update from 1.1 to 1.1.6, it was pretty late, and I was pretty out of it. And then I was like, look at that. See, I was all green. Okay. So, yes. Yeah, that's compilers for you, aren't they? And also adding I can show you what I wait for that. So in order to make sure that my enums don't accidentally move the cheese on me, I have every single enum value is mapped. I don't know if there's a better way to do it, but I need to make sure, because sometimes can't just check random values, because I know in some cases, especially the color type, and I can show you how I fix that when I fix the C# one later. There was many a day when the reordering has happened, especially when it started off. It's like, oh, we need this new one. We're going to insert it in between. And of course, that shifts all the values down. Sometimes they just reordered it due to a typo, or they wanted to group certain ones together. And I didn't realize that it happened, especially they swapped two items. I don't know which one it was, but let's just go with like these two. They swapped it, and it's just RGBA to BGRA. I don't know if it was these ones or something like that. There's no way a human eye can figure out exactly what happened there with a cursory glance. And of course, everything had the colors mixed around or something. I forget which one I did. Which one? Maybe it was the F16s or something. And the colors were all weird. And I was like, what's happening? And I was like searching, or wasn't the color weird? It was the BGRA and the RGB. Where's this? The N kind of these ones. RGBRA, RGB. Where's this one? Yeah, I think it was these two, and then they inserted it, but they swapped these two around. So the colors were all mixed up. And the RGBA is like the Unix-based ones, I think, typically platforms, and the BGRA is the Windows. But it's weird if you run in emulators or virtual machines, but all is swapped. But yeah, things got crazy and I didn't spot it. So I actually have, ironically, can I SK color type? That's cool. They've got their C#, but I believe I also have in the C# world. I've got some exciting stuff. Let me show you. But sometimes I have to do. Oh, that's just the D-right cast function. We'll fix that later. So in the binding, SkiaSharp and definitions. Is it this one? Yeah, I have my own enum with older values, with explicit values, because 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 23. Yeah, this is the original order, and then I have a cool function. Let's go here. And enum mappings, here we go. And then I have to map between the two because the order is not the same. The values are not the same. That's 7, and that's 8. That's going to be 7 as well. I was going to try and find 1, 2, 2. Oh my goodness, 4, 4. Oh my goodness. Am I going to look? 1. No. Okay. There. Here's alpha 16, and now in the native API is 19. So the native API is reordered, shuffled, and inserted, and yeah, scary things happening. So SO should be able to do this. Was out of sync. 22 and no, I'm judging. I'm judging these people. But yeah, that is what the exciting things happen. I don't know why I'm working in this. I suppose I anticipated like 5 compiler errors, quick fix, and then it's all over. We just gotta wait for the build. Need I'm on my laptop on an island with Wi-Fi that ironically is connected to fiber. That doesn't help. The Wi-Fi is like, I don't know, 50 megabits per second, as I'm on the second floor and first floor, and the Wi-Fi is downstairs through concrete and rebar, and it's got metal doors and the windows. There's a whole bunch of I don't know if that affects it, but in my mind, there's too much metal messing up the signals. I mean, yeah, I was going to do a speed test, but that's probably going to mess the stream. Yeah, let me just wait here. That we close 370. Okay. I'm gonna anticipate this is gonna work. Now I could use VS Code again for the C#, but I'm getting annoyed with the colors, I suppose. I think my VS is gonna be light mode, so I'm probably gonna blow some eyes. You know what? Let's do it in VS Code. Why do we have to suffer? Which solution is opened? We need to let's see which solution is open. The consoles. Okay. So when I'm working with SkiaSharp, I don't always have to build everything all the time just to get things to work. Ironically, all I need to do is make sure my unit tests pass. If my unit tests pass, the app should work. So let's see. Let's have a look at our changes, right? We've got our enums. We're going to have to redo that. Although I'm pretty sure I've already done that. There we go. Look at that. I already got the mapping because they moved the cheese to 0. Yeah. Metal used to be at the top. Then opens your door. Now dawn's gone, and a new one's added. So yeah, the cheese has been moved multiple times before. So assuming our C API is perfect, let's create a new one. I have a script over here that runs a tool that runs the generator. So we've got the C# API. Crazy things have happened in there. It was stressful, traumatized, but we've got the compiler compiling, right? That means if the rules are to be believed, the way compilers work, I am compiling my C API against the C++ API. So if it compiles, this API now is correct. It matches C# API. There we go. Exporting half by sharp. We're done. Okay. Now we need to run I'm going to generate script. It just runs a tool that runs the generator. If I was to head over to the utils folder, I have a SkiaSharp generator, which is basically a little cool library. Shout out to CPast, which actually depends on SkiaSharp, I think. Nuke. Let's have a look. So CPPast. I don't know how you pronounce that, but the irony is it depends on SkiaSharp. So this is pretty cool. It allows me to basically just read the headers and get type information and do all of that cool stuff. So that's very cool. So if I was to just have a quick look at like my generate command, oh, everything's getting really small. I don't actually need this. Close that. Generator. Like, so basically I just go over here and I say, hey, read the namespaces, like the class display name, like that sort of thing, the size of it. I get all the information, the file line numbers, all of that, just by reading the headers. So I open the C++ headers in the tool, in the library, and I just read all the information out and I spit it all out. We'll see now in a second. So this one, I've gone ahead and said, hey, I feel like something's not saving. Let's just run this again. Just to be sure, like it's green, let's run the build again. So I've gone ahead and I changed this header file and I removed the samples. So the samples parameter, right? So I ran the generator script, is running again for posterity. So if I go over to SkiaSharp file, right, the generated ones are here, all generated, and as you can see, the samples is removed from everything. From the p-invokes where the library import, the DLI import. So no work was done. Now this basically moves the cheese again. So C++ changed, everything fails. I fixed the C API and I run the generator. Now everything should be working except the C# layer. And there we go. One thing I have to do first is just revert these changes because I'm not ready to merge that yet. So we've got this. This is our changes. Ironically, not too much sort of expected. It's all in the GPU layers because they are cleaning up the GPU layer stuff because they're adding a new GPU backend. Cool. I ran the generator. Let's just do this. Updated the C API based on the new C++. Yeah, well, let's go with that. Okay, commit that, and let's just push it because we can. We're pushing it. Oh no, I'm pushing to the wrong. Why? Oh dear, sorry, bro. Why do I have write access to your repo or something? No, I don't. Okay, I have no idea. New origin, create tracking reference. I don't know why my particular branch is on your upstream, but whatever. Who are we to judge? Okay, now those changes, I can go ahead and put that there. Obviously, this was mentioned earlier, and I don't know why that's there now. All right, so theoretically, the C++ stuff is done and shippable, and now I just need to make sure that should be able to just rebuild. While we wait for that, so let's have a look and see what has actually changed. This is pretty cool to find it. Quite verbose, it's multiple times, but basically samples gone from 2 of them. That's it. That's the only actual C# changes that have to happen besides obviously the email. But if we go here, can close the tests. So the GR backend, no, GR definition, here we go. Backend, no, GR. So just find the enums mapping. So you got a bunch of red stuff. See, Dawn is gone. Where was this? Oh, my bad. I don't know why I have it in here. Oh, that's perplexing to myself. Why didn't I just put this into the official definitions folder for the geo? Anywho, Dawn has to be there. Now we can do unsupported, right? That's the new one. You could do 5. I don't know. Metal is 0. Enum is scary, but it is what it is. Unsupported is 5. Dawn is 4. Why is it 5? Oh, just need to quickly check to see. It should be the same value, right? No? Didn't they just remove? Oh, it's after the mock. After the mock, there's a secret hidden something in there. One day, unsupported. Okay, so then the mapper, we go over here and we say, okay, Dawn to native, unsupported. Very sad. Of course, supported to unsupported. Unknown backend. So if you come in here with your Dawn, you're going to get. Well, actually, to remove that, we no longer support that, right? Because it's never going to work. Actually, nobody uses this. This is a dead reference. So it's not unsupported. I'm going to remove that. So no one in my code is using this because that's not a thing. There used to be a way you pass in, say, hey, give me a backend, and you pass in an enum. Now this is the opposite direction. You're going to go unsupported, right? This is used from get the here we go. It is somewhere. Get the backend. I believe this is GR backend. I mean, it's a old way of doing something. Yeah, but nobody is saying, hey, I've got this enum, give me the thing. So I'm just going to throw an exception. If you are trying to, I don't think any API actually takes that. Oh, this thing exploded. GR context, highs, GR error, GR backend native Dawn. Oh yes, that's where the red squiggles are coming from. Create a new Vulkan. This has to be valid. Oh, yes, remember, samples are gone. So, simple fix. Remember, we deleted the samples. And I do. And of course we do. Width, height, of course, samples ignored, and weak image info. But we need to do, oops, with height. There we go. Samples ignored, and then, oh, that is private. So what I'll do is I can say, well, Matthew, don't move the cheese, just delete the cheese. And it's actually go here. Because we're cool with constructors. Here we go. Then I can say, hey, you know what? Samples is gone. We don't have samples. We mark this as obsolete quickly. Obsolete. And then we say use. Oh. I rather want to just do the whole thing, bro. I think that's more helpful. Instead, there we go. So this, let's just do this. Width, height. Oops, that's not what I typed at all. Image info. There we go. We don't have to call this one. And then we need to do the same for the metal. No, the metal. Here we go. It's a little bit small. Fingers crossed. And copy this. Actually, save me copying and pasting. Then copy that. This is now obsolete. Sample count is gone. And we don't pass sample count. Huh? Let's have a quick look at my generated ones. Why didn't this give the compiler error? Or maybe it did. Width, height, okay. Yeah, I mean, VS Code is, I don't know, not having the correct IntelliSense. Or maybe it is correct. And because I inserted some stuff above here, let's move the error message down and see. No, it's the new Vulkan. Don't know. We're not here to question it. Okay, we got the comma count. We're going to just do width, height, and MTL info. I regret all my naming conventions. Why is this MTL? That's metal. Of course, my GL, lowercase GL. Let's look at that GL. My goodness. That's VK instead of Vulkan. That's sometimes I wonder, like, oh, the next version I'll fix it all. Like, okay, it's never going to happen. All right, width, height, and meta info there, and this obsolete, and of course, there we go. All right, that's the tests. I think I have to first build. Let's just build the console again. Rebuild. Let's see. So what did we do? If I remember the backend targets, we removed the sample, okay, and of course the enum mappings. I think that's it. And I'll just run some tests again. I run the GPU test just to make sure the GL works. I'll be running a couple of the GL tests for the graphics GPU tests. Did it? It failed? Don't give me that. No overload, Vulkan. Hashtag not accepting. Here we go. There's nothing there. Wait, did I? No, let me just close this. Close everything. Get rid of it. Destroy it. Let's just rebuild what I did here. I don't know why there's no yellow in the warnings. It used to be warnings. Did it succeed? No, one. There, well, like tests. There were 8 tests. SkiaSharp tests. Okay, so I can just do. What changed? Let's see. So secretly, the messages changed was calling, for example, create a backend texture. So basically, in creating backend render targets with GL. I believe the rendered backend render target. So if I go here and I say GPU surface is created, right? It's a test just to make sure that, hey, given a GL context, can I create GL? Direct context, make GL. GL texture info. Okay, maybe not. Oops. Okay, well, I'm running a test. Where, if I can find backend texture, these ones, right? GL texture info, backend texture, new GL. So this is where the cheese was moved. Surface test, there we go. So here it is. Here's me using my new constructor, create my GL, draw GPU, or the draw GPU. And then this one, I believe, our surface test. There we go. All surface tests, right? This should have a whole bunch of stuff there. GPU texture surface created, right? So texture surfaces, this is the one. Now this is just the GL. I can also check the Vulkan because we have a Vulkan. Oh, there we go. Look at that. So much green. Happy days, happy days. Console. Let's quickly run the build and let's get the Vulkan. I don't know if that works locally. I'm pretty sure it does, right? Usually ran everything. See, I didn't even run all the tests. I have faith. I have faith in my code. I don't see the tests appearing there. Let's try rebuild. Science. We have to build twice. I don't know. Let's see. Oh, the other one's vanished. Please come back. Come back to daddy. I want to run these tests. Oh, and there they all are. Amazing. I want the net 8 ones, if you don't mind, because I don't know what's going to happen. Let's run it all. Let's run it all, right? So you have a context test. We can create the valid surface test. I will confess, these aren't exactly the most extensive tests. Backend, create Vulkan, backend context. But the fact that the GL one worked, right, and the fact the compiler worked, right, I was copying it. The compiler said it was okay. I called the new API. The compiler said it was okay. I did the binding. The test didn't explode. I mean, it's green so far, so you know, maybe we're done. Yeah, and the cool factor is this. So the state of C++ API has changed. I was able to hide half the changes. For example, all this stuff in the C API, right? This unimportant function location changes. Then in the case of the C# API, the enum, I added a new enum value, right? And now you're just never going to get a dawn value back, right? So this one, I didn't realize samples was never used. So that's pretty cool. And I think Matthew's a happy chappy. I think we're done. I'm gonna paste that in there now. Updated the C# API with the new C APIs. Go with that. Go with that. And we push to origin. Okay. I'm just pushing the sub audio. Now I can't create a PR in that browser because Google is what GitHub has locked me out. Or locked me out. Logged me out. And I just use there we go. GitHub mono / skia. So let's quickly do this PR. Exciting. We're gonna update there. Let's get sharp. There we go. OSI. Oh, Oh, there's someone's Tom Edwards in scope. We're gonna have a look at that, bro. And then Matthew needs to get a nap. It's been 2 hours. Update Skia to Milestone. Whoops. Update Skia to Milestone. There we go. Let's just do that. Let's be good internet citizens. Don't have an issue number, right? Because this is another bug that's being fixed. The APIs that have changed are these two. Changes, CPP. This is removed. Do it like that. Types. Changes. Right to the values of the item. So that's it. All right. No behavioral changes. We'll finish the Skia PR, create a pull request. Right. Then, of course, I did this already. I'm going to do the same thing here. Update Skia to Milestone. Just copy everything. Fixes, there's no API bugs fixed. I mean, sure, there's hundreds of cool bugs fixed. Of course, the added APIs or something. Let's have a look. API changes. Did we have API changes? I mean, there was, but okay. Make it bigger. Let's just do this. Enum value is no longer used. Was added to native. Yeah, I'm okay with that. Method to native now. Okay. Thank you, IntelliSense. Back and read the target and yeah. The samples parameter argument parameter for Vulcan and metal for and metal that is overload. That overload Skia PR not that one. It's this one. There you go. It's this PR. It's linked psychically back to this one. Look at that. So I wonder if I can do something cool. Changed. I can do diff, right? I believe minus plus, right? I believe this is what science tells me. There we go. Beautiful. So thousands of changes have happened. Thank you very much, random people on the internet. We now have those changes into Skia, or at least almost into Skia. Then, of course, got a little update here just to make things happy and even. Skia PR, blah, blah, blah. Now this is going to be building. Fingers crossed. It happens soonish. Don't know what the queue based on the system, but I've got an exciting little hack which I can reveal. I'll read this in a second. Let's just have I'll have a secret stash. Obviously, I can go to manual. There we go. I have a secret pipeline that for my PRs, I can bypass all of the slow things. And oh, there we go. So we can see. Let's have a look. Hopefully the previous build is green, so at least people can try out the old the old new stuff. Oof. Come on. There we go. Oh, it doesn't matter about this one because this is not what gets released. See, sometimes this random stuff fails. The WASM test is not like a thing. It just launches WASM and makes sure that the WASM library doesn't crash. Connection refused. Interesting. Gonna have to investigate that. But why did it fail? We don't know. Because actually, I need to fix that. Remember, for us, FM11 116 is now 118. 117 is now 118. There we go. Update README. There we go. So now we can feel like everything's up to date. Okay. The stream hopefully was, or the recording for those you're watching, hopefully it was interesting. Started off excited and easy is going to go, and then I got tired and my brain was running on slow, and I mean, cool things happened. Probably wasn't something to quit your job and just take up stream watching with my stream. Hopefully I can watch my recording and learn from my stream mistakes and improve and stop rambling on. Okay, so I think we're done. C built, C++ built. Obviously Windows, I'm assuming all the other platforms are okay. C# was generated, C# was modified, C# was built, the tests passed. I mean, I probably should have a visual check to make sure there isn't some hideous glyphs happening, or not glyphs, artifacts, but I'll have a look at that later. So have a quick look at this Tom Edwards Enscape. Let's see who he is. Oh, looks like an Avalonia type of guy. He only has one repo. Contributed to Avalonia. How? Is he working directly in Avalonia? Let's see what he did. Look at someone else's work. Okay. That is a change. All right. Let's have a quick look at that. Why is he cherry picking? Do we care though? Right? Do we care though? This, let's see when this landed. June 2023. It's merged. Remember when it was merged? Uploaded, changed, successfully merged, submitted to it. Let's have a look and see exactly where that merged in. Maybe we secretly got it in now, right? Branches, we don't have any branch information, but that's okay. That's okay. This is the commit. Isn't there a place like view source at this particular life? Right? Isn't there like oh, there we go, right there. That's the right thing I was looking for. Look at that. My brain is on medium. 115. Interesting. So let's try and locate this commit. So I got this commit hash. I can search for it. There's a cool thing about these things. There we go. Can I see information about this one? No. Pretty sure there was a. I don't know. I liked my list of branches it was found on, but maybe it was in the 1.6 that I merged. So I can easily check this one. So let's go over here. Codec. Where's the decoder? No. Codec line 1024. We gotta go far. Right at the end, most probably. There we go. I wonder if I check my previous release 3.0. No. Release /3. Oh, I haven't tagged that. I've been a bad boy. Let's have a look. I've got a sort of a way. Where is this? Skia. And I can check. Let's go to 115. Right, this is what it was yesterday or 2 days ago. Then of course we go here, codec, and let's see. Did this guy's PR? Oh, look at that, 116, and then I updated 116 last night. No, 117. Oh, it was 1-1. Wait a second. What did I put? 8. Yeah, right. 7. Maybe. There we go. Yes, last night's bump. Okay. So if I was to go over to this PR and say no more. This one. This is no longer needed. I wonder if there's going to be a conflict on every single file. Okay. I don't know why I can't see the information. Let's see the bill statement. Well, how can this merge? Oh, it's probably merging fine because this is already in the pipeline. Okay, so let's just quickly link to that. So product. And then I'll say, okay. I believe that with my bump last night to the 117 milestone, this commit is now included. Thanks for this PR. Hopefully I can keep Skia up to date, and we never need to cherry pick unless we are ready to eat those cherries, and we are in the garden. There we go. Yeah, clearly I'm a bit tired. Okay, I'm going to close this one now. All right, so he cherry picked that. Did he actually make any other change? Don't think so, right? Git commit, register, and decoder. Let's just make sure that register and decoder is register and the decoder. Like sometimes IntelliSense for C++ just like gives up. Let's just delegate and make from stream callback. Takes a stream, returns a result, and has a context which is void. So, and the ID. Okay. Let's have a look at what this register method does. It'll be fun to have a look. Decoders, get decoders for editing. Interesting. Oh, there we get decoders for editing. Static ones. These are the default ones. Interesting. Oh, interesting code. So this register. Oh, okay. If it's replaced, they replace it. Otherwise, edit. Okay. This was totally cut off, and I was like, what? You only can replace existing ones. Okay. So that's cool. Wonder how they. Because I saw distinctly in here, locate a primary file name extension. Interesting. Okay. Closing this for now. Closing this for now as it got merged free. Okay. All right. So that's cool. Let's read this one. See what other stuff is linked. Any codecs, images support with SkiaSharp, not currently possible. No C++ register. Point to the refresh. Okay. Write a codec register. We don't have to do the C++. We can quickly expose that, right? Okay. Yeah, that's good. When decide, I usually look at to see when that attribute gets labeled. All right, let's have a look at the pipeline. I mean, the work we are. Look at that. That's not. Might be building it. Okay. We don't care about that codec. So let's. I mean, you know what? I'm incredibly tired. I need a nap. I need to sleep. But why do we do that when we can have some fun? So let's quickly hop on back to the main branch. Luckily, I've done this yesterday. I've done the update. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to do what this guy wants, this Tom guy. Like, there's Tom, right? Yeah, Tom. Like, I would like to do this cool thing. And I'm like, I'm so tired. My brain is just not registering the fact that I'm tired. So have a look at the method and see what it looks like. Register and the decoder. Okay, so okay, so we got a struct that has some information. Is it worth creating this struct? I think I'm going to create a fake struct. skcodec dot register. Why don't they have an SK decoder? Right? I'm gonna SK encoder. Is there an SK decoder? See all these decoders. Okay. All right. So basically, this is what they do. We are going to have to do this. So it's not really a thing. Everything is just a single method. So how would I want to do this if I was going to write this perfect API? Let's write that perfect API based on that, and let's see what happens. I'm going to SkiaSharp, and you got a codec test. So let's just write the test. Look at this test-driven development. We've achieved peak development or something. Let's quickly just write a void test, and let's just have a quick look. So, okay, no. Class decoder. Can IntelliSense pick it up? No. Okay, so we've got string ID. We've got decode context is format callable. Right, so let's just copy this quickly. This is delegate. So this will be action. We just created a delegate, so it's easier for us to do things. So it's delegate. We need to return. Whoa. No. Data length bool. So delegate bool skcodec decoder. The decoder is format delegate. Whew. Sorry about the long names. You know what? I'm going to move this underneath because we are that type of people. And then, of course, we're not going to use that. So const void star. This must be int ptr. And, of course, this is just int ptr. A delegate. Okay. And I feel like this can probably be an int, but whatever. Let's just go with that. You know, technically that could be sk data even, or span. Yeah, delegate. Right, that's what we have to do. But the real delegate, we can do like span byte data, right? I feel like read only. But that'd be nice. This is easier to work with. I wonder if we can do delegates again. But let's just not get too ahead of ourselves. This one is delegate. Going to return a sk codec. Have a quick look at something. What was I doing? I was doing this already. Oops. Which class did I do that? Is it stream? I made it nicer. Drawable. No. Don't think it was font manager. Stream, I bet it was image elements. Let's go look and see what we had here. I'm pretty sure. Paint part of face picture, pixmap, picture. Serialize. Oh. It is very annoying why. Okay, let's see. So the stream has a whole bunch of stuff. Copy to, wait, where is this? Probably virtual. Let's see. Here we go. Oh. What a byte. Why am I using arrays? This is before the time of spans. The code's so old, they don't even have spans anymore. Well, we didn't have spans, now we've got arrays. Now obviously it's going to make it annoying. I know we manage stream, right? Oh, I don't override it. Okay. I forget. I'm pretty sure there was one where I pixmap. Do I have a delegates file yet? I still have my delegates file. So now we got a nice PR to clean it all up. Delegate proxies, drawable. One of these ones is like trace w stream, and I mapped it into nice later. Calm down, Matthew. You're not solving the world problems here. Let's get codec. So this takes data and length. This could be a span. I wonder if you can use span. You should better use spans again. And then this is going to be SkiaSharp decoder. I need to figure out if I like that. Make decode. There we go. Code stream. SkiaSharp decode stream. Okay, this is SK stream and our codec result, and of course int ptr context. All right. But a real person, I don't know if I can do that, but I can do in this one. Stream out codec result, and I don't need the context because that's not modern. We need that for internal ones, not the real ones. So then I can come here and I can say, hey, is format. Code. Let's just go with that. So I would have some sort of API, skcodec register. I'll do that, register code for now. And then I won't do that. I mean, so look at the latest API. That API is the same. You don't even need that type, right? Like, why are we exposing all this hard work? Oh. Okay. This is a lot of work. What do you want to do? I want to register a, I don't know, PNG, and I want to decode that with, you know, this is bad. See, okay, maybe before I start writing code, I can have a little discussion on the issue of how you want the API to work, because we can port it one-to-one, right? That'll be okay, but that's not the greatest way to work, right? Like in my mind, when I'm working this, I'm like, oh, I like to register the coder. Maybe you want to have a class like PNG decoder, and I don't know. See, the GC is going to collect it, all it. Register decoder, and this lives forever because we can never unregister it. So I can just pin it. I mean, don't have to pin it, but so if I have PNG decoder and I have, you can never unregister. That's it, right? You can never unregister. So as decoder, so what would I want to do? An interface, would that be like my decoder? Is that there we go. Can I ask a bunch of methods? Is it string ID returns, PNG? Right? This is like, okay, this is fun. A lot of work. The way they had it is a struct, a little simple baby wrapper to basically say, hey, register this. But this feels fun in the sense there's a nice little package. But what about if I just did PNG and then I have a, data, oops, and I can say like, this is the true. Then I have another one and I go, whoop, I believe I did this wrong. Yeah, stream. And this would be some sort of stream. Ooh. Can we do? We don't need context, right? Then I'm going to return SK code create. Let's just quickly do that. Like getting a PNG data, we're always going to decode what it is out. I don't think I can. I don't think we can do out. C# out parameter delegate. String ID. Right, let's do the way I want to do it. Okay, what context? Right, this is how people want to work. You want to be given some data. And just like I read this data and I say, oh, I can read it or not. This one, I say, okay, yes, we can. So we then get the whole stream. So it's terrible names. I'm sorry. Sorry, I had to see that. Okay. No, out result. I don't think we can do that. So that's not going to be fun. Get the decoders. Here we go. Each one loops through the format. Here's eyes. Oh. Oh. Oh, oh, oh. Okay. Wait a second. It's not our context. Interesting. So, okay. This is public. Wow. Okay. It is. The context is that potentially it could be anything, right? But yeah, no. Okay. So this is specific to certain decoders, and I am given that context. I don't like the ordering. I would like the context first. Like, but yeah, we're gonna ignore the context for now. What is the PNG chunk reader? It's this. Let's have a quick squiz. Obstacle correct retrieve meta chunk data out of PNG. You're gonna re-chunk. Whatever. I don't think we want that right now. But how do we don't accidentally? Right. So if we just ignore the context for now, so ignore these two. So someone's going to call decode. Our first data is going to find with a random chunk of data. We have to analyze the data. Then the next one is like, oh, it's our time. Codec or result. Okay. I think I'm too tired to have a look at this now. I don't like litigates were nice, but I don't think that's the way it's going to be useful. I mean, it could have the method predefined. Going the way of like interface, I mean, it's sort of, I suppose, right? We don't have to have the ID here. Because we're not going to be string-based lookup. Like this thing, right? Can decode, something like that. Okay, decoder. It's can decode, and of course this is just decode. And then of course we get the codec, and of course this will have a result. Like this is fun, right? Then we can register the decoder, and then we can do like a new this one, PNG decoder. So there we go. Is supported. We'll think about it. Ooh, cool name. Okay. Now, the reason this feels more useful, right? I could have a library because the ID is not used. It's just an ID, not an actual thing. Let's just delete that for now. So I could create a separate library to read some advanced thing, and I register it. Whatever you want. Okay. This decoder has nothing. It's not a skia object. So if I was to write this implementation, the Skia API is requiring this particular type. This is like a implementation detail, I think. So in the in the secret bowels of the method, register decoder. Okay, I would do like I mean, I could even so the methods need to be passed by handles, right? I've got the implementation to do that. So I can create basically I have to have a check with that. $3. Oof, that's been a long time. Let me just pop this in the chat for myself. Oops. I mean, how would the perfect C# API look? I mean, in my tired brain, it came up with this. I'm not sure. We need to expose the API, the exact same API that Skia uses. So okay. Right, we can register some sort of PNG decoder, and the PNG decoder is basically just that with an ID, and under the hood, it basically passes the handle to this object with a context. The problem is the fallback doesn't have context. But does it need context? Or does I need context? Right? Because I'm going to get a callback saying, oh, here's some data inside. Now I need to go find this managed object, which is very annoying. I wonder yeah, I'll have to see what we got here. Right, because they do in the bowels of the decode, right? They just be like, get the bytes, and then I saw it here. There you go. Is format. So this proc. Oh, well, okay, the whole one. Okay, okay. I could have the handle to the managed object in here, and then I can find it each time. I don't care. And okay, so I can't use the context. That's what I was thinking, because this context in here is some sort of arbitrary Skia data. Okay, because I would create like a SkiaSharp context, and this would just be void star, maybe like managed handle that. Okay, might do that. Anyway, that was a thought experiment, and I'm not sure what we learned from that. My brain is tired. But before we go, we can celebrate success. I'm pretty much sure we can do. Look at that. Look at that. Android's green. Android's green. Linux is happy with whatever we did. If I go to that, no, yes, right, yeah. So our build is working. interesting that this is what we got. Oh, my goodness. I think my browser is frozen. There we go. It's not showing me the contents, navigating randomly. Okay, I think this is going to be excitingly quick. Hopefully the tests all pass. Let's see what this guy comes back with. I think it's useful to inject. That's sort of a nice sort of extension point. I know people have been asking for some arbitrary, I like to decode this format. And I'm like, oops, I'm not going to write that codec, but it looks like we don't have to. Loads of bugs for me to look at. And have a look at all this stuff. Oh, this is another one. Do we like this API? It's up to the universe. Okay. But I think that's a whoosh. What's the time? It's 1 o'clock. 3 hours. Party's over. Right, I see there's 4 people watching. I'm sure 2 of them are me. I'll type in the chat. Thanks to those who popped in. Very rambly and I ram. There we go. Let's type that in the chat. Okay. All right. I'm going to go sleep. Straight from here. Oh no, I'm just going to have a shower. Okay, I'm going to have a shower and then go have a sleep. Hopefully it's going to be green. I'll merge and maybe, I don't know, if I feel up to it, I might do another bump tomorrow or something. Who knows? And try and catch up with SkiaSharp with the latest version of Skia out there, at least get closer. So the closer we get, the more bugs are fixed and the happier people get. All right. Cheerio, future me and anyone else.